Looking forward to seeing you guys.
Yeah.
Hari Hari. So I see Madhuvan is here. Google's iPhone. Hari Bo. Hare Krishna.
God bless, God bless, God bless his mother.
Hari Hari. Hari Bo. Sunita Devi is here. Nadi is here. Okay. Loka is here. Devi. Ishvara Prabhu is here. Hari Hari. My goodness, I just spoke about Ishvara Prabhu yesterday.
Well,
Interesting.
dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Jagat Guru Vishnu Prabhupada. All glories to our revered speaker, Her Grace, Mother VRAJALILA Devi, and all glories to the assembled Vaishnava devotees. We thank you all for being here. And as you all may be aware, our speaker, we've missed her for 2 months.
Yeah.
I did not know why Lord Chaitanya specifically said that a moment disassociation of Krishna feels like 12 years or more. So we are also feeling like 12 years or more, actually like 24 years of not seeing Mother. But we are very grateful we have her with us today. So, Mother, thank you so much. Welcome to your own home. And we may put the verse on the screen and then you take it over from here. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Thank you, Saha. Thank you for your kind acknowledgement. Saha, you're getting amazingly professional with words. Hari Hari. Hare Krishna. Rasavandas. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. And Adya Salika Prabhu. Thank you so much. So we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 2, and Text 23. And I'm very, very happy. Last month was an amazing month. And somehow or other, so many conflictions were there. But here we are today by Krishna's grace. So let's start with the verse. Text 23. Aho Bhakiyam Stanaka. Okay, let's start with Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchayvam Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayam Hridaya Nasta Praishu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavati Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. So we're reading text 23. Aho Bhakiyam Stanakala Kutam Jidham Sayapayad Yad Ab Asadvi Lebhe Gatim Datri Uchitam Tatonyam Kamva Dayalum Saranam Rajema. And the synonyms for this verse: Aho, alas, Baki, the she-demon Putana, Yam, whom, Stana, of her breast. Kala, deadly, Kutam, poison, Jighamsaya, out of envy, Apayayat, nourished, Api, although, Asadvi, unfaithful, Lebhi, achieved, Katim, destination, that Shri Uchitam, Da Shri Uchitam, just suitable for the nurse, Taha, beyond whom, Anyam, other, Kam, who else, Va, certainly, Dayalam, merciful, Saranam, shelter, Sharanam, shelter, Rajema, shall I take. And Srila Prabhupada's translation, alas, how shall I take shelter of one more merciful than he who granted the position of mother to a she-demon, Putana, although she was unfaithful, and she prepared deadly poison to be sucked from her breast. Srila Prabhupada's purport. Here is an example of the extreme mercy of the Lord, even to his enemy. It is said that a noble man accepts the good qualities of a person of doubtful character, just as one accepts nectar from a stalk of poison. In his babyhood, he was administered deadly poison by Putana, a she-demon who tried to kill the wonderful baby. And because she was a demon, it was impossible for her to know that the Supreme Lord, even though playing the part of a baby, was no one less than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. His value as the Supreme Lord did not diminish upon his becoming a baby to please his devotee Yashoda. The Lord may assume the form of a baby or a shape other than that of a human being, but it doesn't make the slightest difference. He's always the same Supreme. A living creature, however powerful he may become by dint of severe penance, can never become equal to the Supreme Lord. Lord Krishna accepted the motherhood of Putana because she pretended to be an affectionate mother, allowing Krishna to suck her breast. The Lord accepts the least qualification of the living entity and awards him the highest reward. That is the standard of his character. Therefore, who but the Lord can be the ultimate shelter? Om Gyanati Mirandasya Ganagana Shalakaya Jakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapara Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupa Sagrachitam Sagrahitam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sarabhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vastai Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Tirtha Swami Iti Namine Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Shitatmane Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Bhakti Tirtha Iti Namine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hari 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 Bol, their devotees. So the translation again, alas, how shall I take shelter of one more merciful than he who granted the position of mother to a she-demon Putana, although she was unfaithful, and she prepared deadly poison to be sucked from her breast. So this is a very, very wonderful, wonderful verse about the merciful nature of Krishna, merciful character of Krishna. And this is also such a wonderful story of Putana, because the story helps us to understand some of the characteristics of a demoniac person. And as devotees, we get to understand if we have any of the divine qualities that Krishna speaks about in the Bhagavad Gita. So I'd like us to look at Bhagavad Gita first, just so we can understand a little bit more. We can just ourselves enter into what does it take to be a demoniac person? How does Putana fit into this category of being demoniac from different perspectives. We'll look at that. So let's start with the Bhagavad Gita, and we're going to look at Bhagavad Gita chapter 16. That's a verse that is very important for the devotees, for all of us, because it helps us to check our internals as well as our externals. What we're looking at in this verse is Putana, who is exemplifying a person that is acting some way outside and different way inside. So let's see. Let's look at this. Let's play this game with ourselves and see where we're at. Okay, so we're starting with this, some of the qualities of Putana. And, in this text, we've been reading throughout this whole chapter, Remembrance of Krishna, and we're understanding how we've learned that Vidura has traveled, he's on pilgrimage, and, now he's met Uddhava, and now he's beginning to hear, because he actually didn't know that the war had ended. And so now he's getting a chance to hear about some of the personalities and some stories, some pastimes about the Lord. So here, we want to look a little bit at some of these demoniac qualities. So Sahai, if you can pull up chapter 16, please, on the Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So let's start at start at text 4, just so we can understand a little bit about what are demoniac qualities that Krishna explains to Arjuna. So he says, pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, harshness, ignorance. These are some of the qualities of demoniac nature. Okay, we can just go to the next text. So we can if you can just put the translations, we'll just read through the translations. Okay, so if we go to, 5, 6. Okay, here Krishna tells Arjuna, "Oh, son of Pritha, in this world there are two kinds of created beings. Two kinds of created beings. One is called divine and the other demoniac." And so he already explained the demoniac qualities. So he'll go deeper into explaining those demoniac qualities. Those who are demoniac do not know what is to be done and what is not to be done. Neither cleanliness, nor proper behavior, nor truth is found in them. Let's look at text 7. So in this text 7, we can understand that Putana, just the translation is good, Drew. Those who are demoniac do not know what is to be done and what is not to be done. So we understand that Putana, like her many brothers, they were servants of Kamsa, of one of the greatest demons that's there in our philosophy to help us to understand demoniac qualities. And so Putana, she had no real understanding, of who Krishna was. She didn't know that he was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Her association was a demoniac master. And so therefore, she didn't know what was to be done or what was not to be done. She was only following instructions. And unfortunately for her, she was following the instructions of a demoniac leader. Now, there's always a backstory to everything. And so when we think about Putana, it's important to understand Putana, understand even why she was behaving the way she was, why she took instructions from a demoniac personality, a demoniac leader. So there's a nice story. Quickly, I don't remember. I think the story, I heard it from one of our teachers, and I believe he referenced the story from the Brahma Vaivata Purana. Now, generally, we don't study those scriptures, at least I don't, but I heard the story from him. And I was thinking, oh, that's quite interesting to learn the backstory because, as I said, everybody has a backstory, right? So this backstory of Putana was in a previous life, she was the sister of Bali Maharaj. And when Vamanadev, most of you here on this call know that pastime of Vamanadev and Bali Maharaj. And so when Vamanadev came to Bali Maharaj, we know that he asked for those steps. And this Putana, who in her previous life, I think her name was Ratnamali, so she was very attracted to Vamanadev as this little boy, because you know we hear how beautiful Vamanadev was. He was so attractive, you know, he was looking so pure and he was effulgent. And so Putana became very, very attracted seeing this young child coming to see her brother, Bali Maharaj. And so she was watching the whole pastime, watching the whole scene of what was going on. Then when she realized what Vamanadev came to do, when at the last point when Bali asked Vamanadev where to put your where would you like to place your foot? And the last place Vamanadev placed his foot was on the head of Bali, as we all know, right? And so when she saw that, she became so very angry. Because she realized that Vamanadev had tricked her brother, and she thought, I'm gonna have a child, and when that child is born, I'm gonna give that child my breast, and I'm gonna kill him, just like Vamanadev is cheating my brother. So she had that thought, she had that desire. This is the backstory, and those scholars on the call, they can, correct that story or add to that story if you like. Because I remember hearing it from two different personalities telling the story, and I just thought, because I'm so much interested in hearing the backstories of all of these great personalities. So Krishna being so merciful, this verse is about the mercy of Krishna. Krishna being so very merciful, he decided, because he knew he's in the heart, right? He's Paramatma. So he was in the heart of Ratnamali, who now is Putana. And so he decided that he would grant her that benediction. He would grant her that desire, grant her that wish. And so Krishna in this pastime now, Ratnamala has now taken birth as Putana, as a demon, to fulfill that desire. So Krishna can embrace her so that she can, as a pastime is sharing, become the nurse of Krishna. So this is just a little bit of the backstory. What I really want to focus on is those qualities, those demoniac qualities that most demons exemplify. And Putana being one that in this life that we're learning about, she did not understand who Krishna was. She had no clue, because Prabhupada tells us we don't always remember our past lives, right? We all have a backstory and we all have a past life. And so that's actually something that we really all do need to face within ourselves. So let's look at some more of these demoniac qualities and see how are they, did Putana exemplify any of these other demoniac qualities? And internally, how do we think about these qualities? So we know that she didn't know what was to be done. She didn't understand that. She didn't have proper behavior, mainly because she didn't have any knowledge of who Krishna was and who she is. Prabhupada goes on to say, they say that this world is unreal, with no foundation, no God in control. They say it is produced of sex desire and has no cause other than lust. Following such conclusions, the demoniac, who have lost themselves and who have no intelligence, engage in unbeneficial, horrible works meant to destroy the world. So again, here is Putana. She's following her master, who's a demoniac personality. And of course, he's trying to kill the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he does that with many different pastimes, using many different personalities. And so Putana is one of those personalities that have no intelligence, although she is benedicted with mystic potency. But real intelligence means to understand matter and spirit. who we are and who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? What is spirit? She didn't have that intelligence, but she wasn't an ordinary person. She wasn't just a woman in the sense of how in modernity, in modern times, we label women in a certain way. She actually had a lot of powers. So this one of the powers that she had, which gave her empowered her to go and enter into Krishna's sacred abode, was the power of being able to fly. So today we call those personalities witches, right? They have specific power where she could fly on a broom all over the world. I mean, today we depict it as on a broom, but however, in those days, I'm guessing she could just fly with the power of the mind and the power that was given to her. She could fly all over the planet, all over the world. So, and she could change her appearance. She could change how she looks. And so she, with those powers, her intention or her determination was to create horrible works meant to destroy the world. She wanted to destroy Krishna. And of course, we know no one can really destroy Krishna. However, that was her intention. And so her intention was for destruction. It wasn't for anything beneficial. So she was engaged in unbeneficial, horrible works, which was to give Krishna her breast milk. So text 10, taken shelter of insatiable lust and absorbed in the conceit of pride and false prestige, the demoniac, thus illusion, has sworn to unclean work, attracted by the impermanent. Her master, Kansa, we know that he was filled with pride. He was filled with prestige. He was definitely demoniac. He's trying to kill the Supreme Lord. And so, yes, he's definitely how do you say, being an example for those persons that are following him with these kinds of qualities. And text 11 and 12, they believe that to gratify the senses is the prime necessity of human civilization. Thus, until the end of life, their anxiety is immeasurable. Okay, I'm just going to go down to the next one. So I'm sorry, in this 11:12, it says, bound by a network of hundreds of thousands of desires and absorbed in lust and anger, they secure money by illegal means for sense gratification. So we know Hamsa, he used to, he would conquer many different kings. And we know that he was an angry person. Because he thought, of course, we know he thought Krishna was going to kill him. So he was very angry and he had lots of power. And therefore he was trying to exert, his particular demoniac authority to kill Krishna using Putana. And I'll just read this last one, 13 to 15. The demoniac person thinks, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future more and more. He is my enemy, and I have killed him, and my other enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. I am the richest man, surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices. I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice in this way. Such persons are deluded by ignorance. So we can understand from this text that Kamsa was totally deluded by ignorance. He thought he could kill Krishna, right? Which is not possible. Krishna cannot be in any way destroyed because Krishna is the seed-given father of every living entity, even Kamsa. So unfortunately, he wasn't understanding that. So this story, this text, it's just giving us a little bit of understanding of this pastime, this wonderful pastime of Putana, and helping us to understand where we are in our unfoldment as we're trying to become devotees of the Lord. So I want to go back again, Saha, just really quickly to that same text, and I want to go to the qualities of a devotee, of someone that's aspiring to be a devotee. So these are some of the qualities. If you go to text 1 and 3, 1 to 3, these are some of the qualities that a person that is aspiring to serve the Lord, or a person that's a pure devotee of the Lord, these are some of the qualities that they exemplify. So for example, we are all aspiring to serve the Lord, to understand more about the Lord, to learn to love the Lord. So we can say, I am fearless, right? These qualities of fearlessness. So if we can remind ourselves as aspiring devotees of the Lord, I am fearless. I am here for purification of my existence. I am cultivating spiritual knowledge. I give in charity. I am practicing self-control. I perform sacrifices. I try to study the Vedas. I perform austerity. I am simple. I am nonviolent. I'm truthful. I'm free from anger, I am renounced. I practice tranquility. I have aversion to fault finding. I am compassionate for all living entities. I am free from covetousness. I am gentle. I'm modest. I'm steady, determined with determination. I have vigor. I practice forgiveness. I practice fortitude. I practice cleanliness. And I am free from envy and from passion for honor. So if we can, say that about ourselves, then we are practicing these divine qualities. And if we find ourselves short of any of these, then we understand that we are still in the process, in this wonderful, amazing, beautiful process of bhakti, in order to develop these different godly qualities, because that's our inherently, when we have these qualities, then we're inherently connected with our divine nature. So I just wanted to kind of just bring this to our attention as we embark on this story, on this pastime, and what Prabhupada is sharing here in this text, because sometimes the tendency is to think, they're a demon, but I am, I'm a devotee. And it's always nice to see, like, where am I as a devotee? Who am I? I think His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj, he wrote a book called Maya Vaishnava, Vaishnava case, something like that. So we can always check ourselves. We don't have to go very far. We don't need no one else to tell us. All we need is Krishna to, all we need to do is go to Bhagavad Gita and hear what Krishna tells Arjuna. So, yeah, so in the text, let's see, this text, it says, Prabhupada is, I'm sorry, finding the text so we could go to some of these verses. Prabhupada says that in the translation, he says that alas, the she-demon, Putana. Two things he points out about Putana. Jighamsaya, out of envy, and Asadivi, she was unfaithful. So she was envious and she was unfaithful. And because she had those two qualities, she thought she could just pretend to be this beautiful, wonderful person, because of course we know she could change her position. She could change her appearance. And she entered into this place where Krishna was, a baby living, and she was so expert that even the Brijbasis, they got a little bit fooled of who she was, and allowed her to go and suck Krishna's breast. So Madhu Yashoda and Rohini both allowed her to suck Krishna, allowed Krishna to suck her breast. Allowed Krishna to suck her breast. So let's look at these two qualities then that Prabhupada mentioned so much in all of his in all of Prabhupada's, in many of Srila Prabhupada's writings, he speaks about this quality of enviousness and being unfaithful, right? These two qualities are so important because they are the foundation of a person being godly. They're at the foundation of a person developing the godly qualities that we speak about, is to really become free from enviousness and to become faithful to Krishna, and to really not just intellectually understand Krishna, but to be in the mood of remembering Krishna all the time, remembering who Krishna is. And so here we see that Prabhupada in the purport, he mentions that because she was a demon, it was impossible for her to know the Supreme Lord because she was a demon. So because she had this quality of enviousness, it was very difficult to know the Lord. Krishna explains that in Bhagavad Gita also, that one can only know me as I am. One can only know Krishna without without this quality of enviousness. It's very difficult to know Krishna. Without transcendental knowledge, it's also very difficult to know Krishna. So Putana couldn't really have faith in Krishna because she had no knowledge about Krishna, right? She only knew Kamsa, right? She knew her master, and her association, her master, as we said earlier, he was filled with demoniac qualities, filled with demoniac character. He was actually, his whole entire character was having demoniac propensities. And so here we understand that was her association. Krishna tells Arjuna also that whoever we associate with, that's who we are. So if we are associating with people who have more demoniac qualities, then we actually become more like them, as opposed to associating with people who have godly, divine qualities. And so Putana had no real knowledge. She was just really following instructions. At the same time, this pastime is here to help us to understand how, when we follow instructions from a source that is not divine, that is not coming from the Lord, from the Supreme Lord, when we follow instructions that is speculative, or we follow instructions that is coming from a source that is not authorized, then we will have some consequences. So Putana, she entered this arena in a motherly mood to give Krishna her breast. And that's the point that Prabhupada is making here, that because she had this mood of being a mother, even her intentions were not really pure. Her intentions were to kill him. However, because underlining that intention was the fact that she was going to give him her breast, and the relationship between the mother and the child, is to make a connection with when the mother gives the child a breast, that's a loving, kind, nourishing connection. She's nourishing the child. So that's all Krishna sees. And that's what's important in this verse, that Krishna doesn't really see those intentions that we may have that are demoniac in many ways, that are demoniac. If our intention is to remember Krishna, if our intention is to serve Krishna, if our intention is to understand Krishna, then this is what Krishna sees. So Krishna only saw, from this verse, we can understand, he only saw that her intention was to give her breast. And so because of that, and because of the backstory, Krishna then embraced her, and by him embracing her and sucking the poison out of her breast, then she was rewarded with liberation. She was given actually one of the highest places or the highest situation a person can receive, which is to take, she again took birth. She, not that she took birth, but she got liberated to, and some acharyas say to Goloka Vrindavan, where she was assisting as a nurse. And I've read also where some acharya says she went to Vaikunta. So yeah, there are two different takes on that. But there's a pastime that I read that I wanted to share to understand this merciful nature of Krishna. And this is from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So that pastime is Lord Chaitanya. He was calling out the name of one of his dear devotees, and the name was Pundarik. So Lord Chaitanya was calling Pundarik, my father, and he was crying. And the devotees that were present, they were not able to understand what Mahaprabhu meant. What is Mahaprabhu speaking about? The Lord. Why is he calling on this Pundarik? When they asked him, he told them about Pundarik Vijayanidhi and explained that he would shortly be coming to Navadvip. So when Pundarik came to Navadvip, he was playing the role. And remember, there's always like backstory to everything, and everything is connected with Krishna. Everyone is connected with Krishna. Everyone plays some different role. And for these different pastimes we're reading. So Pundarik, when he came, he was playing the role of like a sense enjoyer. He was he didn't want anyone to know who he was. So he just appeared like somebody that just was addicted to his senses. And so Mukundadat, who was also a person that lived in that area, he knew Pundarik Vijayanidhi. And the backstory of that is that Pundarik Vijayanidhi was formerly Radharani's father, Rishabhanu. So that's his backstory. So anyway, the main point of the story is that one day Mukundadat told Gadadhar Pandit, he said that he wanted to introduce him to this very advanced Vaishnava, this very advanced person, Pundarik Vijayanidhi. And he took him to Pundarik's house. So Mukunda introduced the two of them, and Pundarik Vijayanidhi happily welcomed Gadadhar, and they started a conversation. But Gadadhar, he was, he was a very pure devotee, pure personality. He is a very pure personality. So he was indifferent to hearing from Vijayanidhi because he thought Vijayanidhi is just engaged in sensual pleasures, that he's just like somebody that's just a sense enjoyer. He's just engaged in, these different activities that are not actually pure activities. And because when he saw like where Vijayanidhi lived, everything was, furnished very opulently, and his entire surroundings were very opulent, and so he wasn't impressed, right? He just, in his mind, actually, he was thinking, who is this sense enjoyer, and why am I being introduced to him? But Mukunda, because these personalities, they're so great, they can understand, how we think, what goes on in our minds. And so Mukunda, he kind of saw the doubt in Gadadhar's face. He saw that Gadadhar was being critical in his mind, and he decided to reveal who Pundarik was, who the true nature of Pundarik, and how Pundarik was actually a devotional person. So he simply recited this verse, which is this beautiful verse, right? Aho Bhakyam Stanakala Kutam, which is this verse that we're reading now. Jighamsaya Payat Asadhi. So anyway, the verse, as we know, how amazing. The sister of Bakasura, the evil Putana, was sent on a mission to kill Krishna. He drank the poison that was mixed with breast milk, and despite her evil intentions, she was given this position of a nurse, of a wet nurse. So at the time that Pundarik Vajanidi heard this verse, when he heard it, Pundarik Vajanidi began to cry, and he fell on the ground, and he fainted. And so when Gadadhar saw that, when he saw that Pundarik Vajanidi, having such ecstatic symptoms from hearing this verse, he was amazed. He was so amazed to see this reaction. And he began to regret his offensive thoughts about Pundarik Vajanidi. And so later on, Mahaprabhu advised Gadadhar Pandit that the best way to become free of offense was to take initiation from Pundarik Vajanidi. So he became a disciple of Pundarik Vajanidi. Now, what is the meaning of this pastime? That one, our thoughts are so important, and that we don't really know how, when somebody seemingly is acting in a certain way, right? We may dismiss them because they appear to be sense gratifiers or whatever, however that we may see them, but really we don't really know. And so here we see Pundarik was such a devotional person. He was so devoted to the Lord that just by hearing this verse, he just fell off in ecstasy. And so this is the purport that I got from this verse here that we're reading today is, one, the importance of having faith in the Lord without envy. How can we develop those qualities that of having deep faith in such a way that we can externally appear to not be devoted to the Lord, but internally we are fully dedicated. And the only way to have that is to not be envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there are many persons that have spoken on this verse. It's such a beautiful verse. And there are many different ways that we can approach this verse. However, for me, what I found important for me to learn from this verse is, even though Putana, she definitely was exemplifying one of the, or several of these demoniac qualities, where her intention was to kill Krishna, because there was a deep internal desire to act like, to pretend to be, a mother. She actually got that benediction. At the end, she was given that liberation to be able to attain this amazing position of being a nurse in the spiritual world. So therefore, yeah, it's important for all of us to really reflect on a daily basis. What are some of these qualities that I might still need to pray to develop to be a divine and godly person? Okay, so I'm going to stop there because, yeah, there's so much to discuss about this verse. And I want to hear from some of the scholars here today about what are your understanding of this wonderful verse. Okay, so
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mother VRAJALILA, for this wonderful Krishna Katha. Dear devotees, His Grace Vishara Prabhu is here. Vishara Prabhu, do you have something to share? Please.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare.
So I made a point to be here this evening because of Mother VRAJALILA.
Darling.
Thank you, Ishwara Prabhu.
Just this morning, I was asking Katamisha, I thought you were coming. She said, no, you're not coming to Vrindavan. That's what I was telling me.
Yeah, our next stop is Ghana, West Africa. That's our next stop. Yeah. We also we were we were making that our next stop, Ishwara, and then we learned that there is going to be a retreat in Ghana, West Africa, next year. And so we're like, oh, okay, Krishna, you in our hearts, you already had us set up because we already had that plan. One of our dear God sisters will be getting married, and we wanted to be there. And now we learned yesterday, oh, we're planning a retreat there. I was like, oh, wonderful. Hare Krishna. So that's why I was thinking of you yesterday, because I said, well, if you're gonna have a retreat in Ghana, you need to invite Ishwara Prabhu so he can speak about some of the early activities of Krishna consciousness. Hari Hari.
So this verse is one of this very important verse in the of Bhagavatam, this Aham Bhakti Galakoyam, this verse of Putana being killed by Krishna, but she became one of Krishna's nurse. And this verse, the comforter Lusana Brajema, that who else can I take shelter of except that benevolent person? Actually, in the narration of Lord Ramachandra also, when Lord Shiva was talking to his wife, Uma, and described how so many demons, how they were killed by the Lord, but the Lord transferred them all to the spiritual world. So Lord Shiva was expressing that only a foolish person would not take shelter of such a benevolent Lord, that the Lord is so merciful. So when Uddhava was expressing this sentiment that now he was out of his deepest ecstasy, that where can I take shelter of? Krishna, look at it, so many. I think we are in other clip we are discussing how Krishna killed so many persons who died on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Even though they were opposed to the Lord, but because they saw Krishna where died, they all went to the spiritual world. And Putana, who were all intention to kill Krishna, but because of that slight infatuation she had towards Krishna, because when she was in the room of when she entered the room where Krishna was kept, Mother Yashoda, she got the attraction to Krishna. When she saw that baby boy, she said, oh, how attractive. So she was very attracted to that. So that attraction alone was like a benediction. Because yes, our desire is to kill Krishna. And of course, Krishna overlook her thoughts, did not take her thought into consideration. And by him touching her body, she became purified. So Krishna killed him, Krishna killed her, and I gave her the highest award, becoming one of the mothers in the spiritual world in Goloka Vrindavan. So how merciful the Lord is. The Lord is very, very merciful. And then also, you are reading some of the demoniac qualities and divine qualities in the Bhagavad Gita. Like Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote in his book, the famous book. You find in the Javadharma and also in Chaitanya Sikshamrita, and also in the Krishna Samhita about the demons within us, because we all have demonic qualities. So when Krishna is killing so many demons, it's actually the various demons that Krishna is killing is actually the translation of those demonic quality within us, which Krishna is killing, like being proud, being envious, being arrogant, being illusion, all these things. So when Krishna is killing all these various demons, and devotee can actually meditate on these particular demons, then those qualities within us can begin to go away. So which means we don't have to look far enough to say, oh, this person is demon. Actually, that demon is actually us. We are the one with the demonic quality. Now, how those demonic qualities can be taken out by meditating on Krishna's killing a particular demon. Kesi, Agasura, Bakasura, all these various demons, Chinavata. And of course, a Putana represent the false guru. They represent a fake guru. You know? So a lot of lesson is there. Very, very nice verse. Hare Krishna.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I was thank you, Ishwara Prabhu. I was reflecting on that Putana representing the false guru. And I was thinking, I don't think I want to go there today. Because I'm going to get a question from Sahade, which is going to, I just want to stay smiling with everyone today and not going to deep understanding of gurus.
Well, Hare Krishna, thank you so much. And His Grace Ishwara Prabhu, thank you so much for sharing that with us also. So, dear devotees, if anyone may have questions, comments, realizations you may want to share in regard to today's text, please, you may indicate by using the hand emoji or your physical hand to speak or ask your question.
I just want to say one thing, Saha.
Please, go ahead.
Ishwara Prabhu, I miss you so much. Really miss you. Yeah, he's such an amazing sadhaka and just someone that, you know, is such a example of staying consistent in the process of bhakti. Thank you so much.
I was hoping that you will come this year to Vrindavan, as you told, but I got disappointed.
Yeah, yes, I'm also sad that I'm not able to go. But when I see people like yourself, when I see devotees like you, then that's Vrindavan for me. Yeah.
Well,
Mother Raj, I think it's very, very appropriate that you're desiring to have His Grace Ishwara Prabhu in Ghana next year for the retreat, because the last but one time His Grace Ishwara Prabhu spoke, I was pleasantly amazed about some of the early history of ISKCON in Africa, and particularly in West Africa. He shared some things I had never heard of before. I said, wow, this is so beautiful. And I know he has much more in his pocket. Now,
Yeah.
we may have to ask him to remove it from his back pocket on the table for all of us to see and hear.
Yes.
Yes.
So thank you, Saha. Yes, we're extending that invitation a year ahead, Ishwara Prabhu, or however long. I think it's going to be in August of next year. So please put it on your calendar.
Hare Krishna.
yeah, we have to see what Krishna decide.
Yeah.
Krishna willing. Yes.
You see what Krishna decide.
So we go to His Grace Dr. Hassan. Please, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna, Mother,
Hare
please can I accept my humble respect to obeisances?
Yeah.
All glory to Gurudev, all glory to Srila Prabhupada, and all glory to the wonderful assembled devotees. I am very, very, very bit late because I was having network challenging, but I have this question I want to ask. Maybe it's not related to the subject today. My question is, why is it that most of the time people who do the demoniac act, most of the time they save by Krishna, and they at the end they liberated by Krishna? This demoniac act they do it with enjoyment, with a lot of happiness. But when they come in contact with Krishna, they get liberated. But those who perform pious activities. For instance, if we look at the Ekadashis, most of the stories I have heard, these people, they are most of them pious people, but they do something little, even which they are not aware of, and they get punished, and they have to do some austerities, which bring Ekadashi. So my question, why is it like that the demons get more attention in Krishna and they liberated very easily than the pure devotees? If I'm right, Hare Krishna. This is my question.
Arbo there, Bhakta Hassan Prabhu. Thank you so much. You're asking Bhakta Hassan a question that was asked in the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is one of the questions of the sages. Why? How is it that the demons can get liberation? And like you said, sometimes they're pious people that they don't get that reward. They're not rewarded liberation. Why is that? How is that possible? And that's why this wonderful verse, and we'll ask some of the other senior devotees here to comment. However, my understanding of this beautiful verse is that, well, firstly, let's look at this particular pastime. This particular demon, underneath the fact that she wanted to kill the Lord, she came to do an act. She was going to engage in an activity, which is a motherly, loving activity, offer the Lord her breast. And so that's what Krishna saw. She's coming in this mood of like a mother. And so I will embrace her. And while I am embracing her, of course, she will die, because when, Krishna embraced her in such a way that he was squeezing her and her life airs came out of her body. So she was, she died, materially speaking, she died. And as you're saying now, she gets that benediction, that amazing benediction of, for her, she went to the topmost spiritual planet. So what is the reason why Krishna does that? And this is the most amazing thing about Krishna. The Supreme Lord is so very merciful. He's so merciful that whatever little bit a person do, whatever little a person does, that's what he sees. That's what he sees. And that's what gives that person that's what can help that person to get some reward. For example, even in the material world, if a person is a little bit pious, even as you spoke about those personalities in the Kaddish pastimes, they go to the heavenly planets. So that's a form of liberation, going to the heavenly planets, right? It's a better situation that's here on earth. Some of those personalities may even get liberation to the Brahmajyoti, right? Which is also another aspect of being in an elevated position. So it's not that the persons, they don't get some benediction. They do get some benediction. However, in this case, Putana, she got the utmost benediction. But that's why Prabhupada says here in this verse, the end of it, he says, Krishna's character is that he accepts the least qualification of the living entity and gives those persons the highest reward. So if we have a little inclination to want to love or care about Krishna, if we will have a little inclination to love God, whether we're Christians or Muslims, we will get benedicted, right? If we have that desire within our hearts, we don't have to worry that, oh, I did this thing, I did that thing, and, spend our whole life thinking about all the things that we've done or we're doing that is not, that might appear to be demoniac. Those things may be there, but Krishna does see, the Lord sees all the things that we do that are favorable to wanting to love him. That's what Krishna sees. That's what is explained in all scriptures. we move one step to Krishna, to the Lord moves 100 steps towards us. So it's not that, it's not that the persons in our that follow Ekadashi don't get benedicted. They do get some benediction. May not be on this level of Putana. I hope that's okay for you, Bhakti Hassan. However, I do want to get a couple of the devotees, maybe Ishvara, Saha, any other devotee here. I think Varaha Prabhu's here, and also Govinda is here, to comment on that, because that's what this verse is about. It's kind of like, whoa, how's that possible? She did the most horrific thing, but she got liberated. So anyone would like, let's go to Varaha for a minute. Varaha, are you available, Prabhu? Okay, Varaha may not be here. Oh, here he is.
He's here.
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to
Haribol.
Srila Guru and Govinda. Thank you very much for giving us opportunity to say something. Right. Of course, I think the opposite question is often asked also. Why do bad things happen to good people? So how come bad people get in liberation? So, yeah. Mother, you already said it, that Krishna sees beyond what we can see. And, well, I think the explanation we often get to this, that this actually, they are not just demons, but it's pastimes of the Lord. The real demons cannot attract Krishna. Those who are really demonic, they don't have that kind of quality to attract Krishna to deal with them directly. So these so-called demons that had interaction with Krishna, actually, in reality, they're all, having pastimes with the Lord. I think we can also use another example from chapter 9, text 30, appreciate Sudora Sharo. In that, we know that verse is saying that even if one commits the most abominable activity, but it is well situated, it should be considered a saintly person. So we have to see how well situated these so-called demons are. How they're situated. So what they seem to be doing is abominable. But the scripture says, if they were situated, they should be seen as sadhus, sadhu evat. So we have to be able to see, how they're situated, how these people are situated. And the purpose, Srila Prabhupada said, that the demons will not even think of coming in, having anything to do with Krishna or devotional service. They will not even think of him. But those who come closer to Krishna and they seem to be acting in an abominable way, that is the external, like you rightly said, that's the external. Internally, they are rightly situated by desiring Krishna in one way or the other. So they're desiring Krishna. But externally, it looks like, there's something improper. And only Krishna can judge that. So that's why Krishna says in this verse that even though he may commit the most abominable activity, but if it's rightly situated, it is rightly situated. So being rightly situated is about the consciousness, how the person is attracted to Krishna. For one reason or the other, the person is attracted to Krishna. Demons are not attracted to Krishna. The real demons are not attracted to Krishna. So anyway, that's my, little sense contribution. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Varaha Prabhu. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, we see in this pastime, Putana wasn't really attracted to Krishna. Yeah, she really wanted to kill him. However, just by her engaging in that activity, a motherly activity. Actually, Vishwanath Chakravarti, he mentions, he says that when Putana came to him, Krishna closed his eyes. He closed his eyes as a small child, you know, he appeared to be like he's fear, like he's like children would be fearful of such of this personality approaching, approaching him. So he actually to show his fearlessness as a small child, and to avoid seeing this person, to avoid seeing such an inauspicious person, and to avoid making the violent shame of killing a woman, Krishna closed his eyes. And then as I read this from Vishwanath Chakravarti yesterday, he was explaining that that because Putana came in that mood of, and she was beautiful, you know, Rohini and Yashoda let her come. So because she had changed her form, but because she had that, because she came to give her breast milk, she came in that motherly mood. So as you're saying, as you were speaking, Varaha Prabhu, I was thinking about this, like, wow, she didn't have any real good intentions. So she had no good intentions, really. But just because she came in that mood of offering her breast milk, Krishna saw that. And so yeah, that verse, that's so beautiful, that beautiful verse as you quoted, Varaha, in Bhagavad Gita, you know, that whatever abominable activity a person may appear to commit, Krishna doesn't really see that. Krishna just sees that we're endeavoring to offer some service, which is, this is what this verse is all about, the mercy of Krishna. How merciful Krishna is. It's hard to understand that mercy. Yeah, difficult to understand. That's the Lord. Can't understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Govinda Prabhu.
Sorry. Hare Krishna, Mother. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Guru Dev, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, and all glories to you and your wonderful delivery of Bhagavatam. Mother, I have trouble understanding your last submission about Putana salvation by Krishna. And we were speaking about his mode of offering her breast milk to Krishna. So Krishna does not look at the action, but the intent. The intention of the action is where Krishna look. And so Putana's intention was to kill Krishna. It's not that, you know, her intention was to feed Krishna, you know, lovingly as a mother. That would have been a very good intention. Oh, let me feed Krishna. You know, I see him as my own son, baby boy, hungry, crying. Let me feed him. And that is a loving intention. But this time, his intention was to kill him. And the devotional service rendered to Krishna is not what we do, but in other words, Krishna does not eat or does not accept what we offer because he has everything. He is the source of everything. He owns everything. What can we give to Krishna? But the love that is behind what we are offering, that is what Krishna accepts. He accepts our devotion, not our presentation. And so Putana's presentation in this case was to kill Krishna. That was her intention, was to kill Krishna. And that was demonic. That was sinful. So how does Krishna accept that and give a liberation?
Yeah, that's the whole point of this verse, that her intention was to kill Krishna. That's a fact. However, she came in the mood of a mother. even though she came with that intention. My intention is I'm going to kill you. However, that mood of mother, that mood of coming to serve, even though we would not think of it as service, we would think that's not real service. She's coming there to kill him. But no, just that act of coming as a mom, as a mother, just to offer some service, that's what Krishna sees. And there are many examples of that. For example, the story of Hiranyakashipu, right? He got liberated. So there's that beautiful story of Duryodhana when he got hit in the leg. Krishna was not happy to see that, right? And Duryodhana was acting, and he had a lot of demoniac qualities. We have the example of Indra when in the pastime of the Govardhan Leela, right? Indra came to kill not just Krishna but the Brijabasis, everyone. And Krishna didn't, when Surabi came with Indra to offer for obeisance to Krishna and to beg Krishna for forgiveness, Krishna forgave him. He just forgave him. He didn't like, okay, you came here to kill all my family members and you came here to kill me. What Krishna saw after all that Indra did, Krishna said, okay, I forgive you for doing that. Because for Krishna, what that did for him was bring all his family members together, all in one place at the same time. So for him, that was the glorious thing that happened in that Leela. So Krishna gives himself. That's hard for us to understand because we have this Judeo-Christian concept that if you do something bad, you're supposed to get punished. And yeah, in many ways that's there, but Krishna, he doesn't, it's even beyond his, Krishna is beyond punishment per se. I mean, Krishna does punish. However, in his punishment, he liberates. I mean, he punished Putana. It wasn't that she didn't get punished. She got squeezed to death. And, the Brijabasis burned her body. So for most people, they think, oh, wow, she got killed. But within that killing, she received the highest benediction. So yes, her intention was to kill. However, she came in that mood of service to Krishna. She was going to serve him by giving her breast. Now we could put all kind of spins to that, but ultimately she came as a mother. Hope that helps, Prabhu. Thakur Murari, I see you here. Haribol.
Thakur Murari, you may unmute, please.
Hare Krishna, please accept my obeisances and go to Srila Prabhupada and the Assembly devotees. So it's inconceivable is a word that we use in the sense that how is it that in terms of the Leela, Putana came to kill Krishna and she got liberated. So that is why the Sangha is so important for us to understand, that well, as far as Krishna is concerned, where he sees beyond what we, can really see. And as Mother VRAJALILA spoke about the part Indra represents Krishna. Is one of the administrators, and he wanted to, get rid of Vrindavan. They stole Lord Brahma when Lord Brahma stole the cold boys and the calves and put them to sleep. He knew that it was Krishna, but he wanted to play a trick. So you find also in, for example, the pastime Vichashura that was demonic, but really in terms of pastime Indra, he was giving Indra some wonderful lessons. So inconceivable is the word that I think, like I said, and this song is important for us to understand because wow, it's honest speaking. Those things are, as a matter of fact, before I close, sometimes a person in our courts, sometimes a person commits some really, one who say egregious crimes, but sometimes the punishment is so soft. You say, wow, imagine how could he just get that kind of punishment with that kind of crime? So inconceivable, as I say, is that word, and the Sangha is so important to explain all this. Hare Krishna. Hope I wasn't rambling too much. Hare Krishna.
No, thank you, Murari. Thank you, Thakur Murari Prabhu. Thank you so much. We're happy that you're here all the way from Jamaica. Thank you so much. I wanted to just quote a couple of verses from Bhagavad Gita, because the main point, here is, yes, of course, we can't understand Krishna's inconceivable nature and how he gives mercy. However, we can understand some of the things that can be obstacles for us even getting that understanding. And so if we look at Bhagavad Gita, let's say 330, let's look at 331 first, Bhagavad Gita, which is what's important for us as aspiring sadhakas, aspiring bhaktas. Saha. Okay, 331. So the translation here, those persons who execute their duties according to my injunctions and who follow this teaching faithfully without envy become free from the bondage of fruitive actions. So this is a very important text for helping us to develop this understanding of how Krishna is inconceivable, because it's important to be faithful in understanding the teachings of the Lord, right? Who follow these teachings faithfully and without envy. And that's the quality of a devotee, is that they don't have envy about whatever Krishna does or whatever he doesn't do. However he does it, they understand, okay, Krishna can do whatever he wants, however he wants, whenever he wants. And then the next text that we want to look at is, let's say text 32. Text 32. But those who out of envy disregard these teachings and do not follow them regularly are to be considered bereft of all knowledge, befooled, and ruined in their endeavors for perfection. And in the purport, if you go down to the purport, I just want to see one thing. Okay. Here, as there is punishment for disobedience to the order of the Supreme Executive Head, so there is certainly punishment for disobedience to the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A disobedient person, however, great he may be, is ignorant of his own self and of the Supreme Brahman, Paramatma, Personality of Godhead due to a vacant heart. Therefore, there is no hope of perfection of life for him. So when we read this verse, we think, yeah, what Govinda is saying is, how can we understand that, she was definitely a person that was ignorant. She didn't know what was to be done, what was not to be done. Why wasn't she given that punishment that we hear about here? Well, let's go to text in Bhagavad Gita 4, let's see, 439. 439. 439. Hold on one sec. There's somebody at my door. Hold on. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Mother, you may have to unmute, please.
Yeah, it says a faithful man who's dedicated to transcendental knowledge and who subdues his senses eligible to achieve such knowledge, and having achieved it, he quickly attains the supreme spiritual peace. So in this verse, let's go down to the purport. Something Prabhupada says here. Okay. One is called a faithful man, who thinks that simply by acting in Krishna consciousness, he can attain the highest perfection. And this faith is discharged by devotional service. And a person who is faithful to Krishna and who controls the senses can easily attain perfection in the knowledge of Krishna consciousness without delay. So what these verses, and the next verse is also important. So 40, yeah. But ignorant and faithless persons who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness. They fall down. For the doubting soul, there is happiness neither in this world nor in the next. So these verses are important in terms of understanding that there are some things in our scriptures that sometimes contradict. There are some things in our scriptures often that we may not understand. And Krishna's mercy and how he gives or doesn't give that mercy is very inconceivable. However, with faith and without envy, we will understand these things. And I'm saying this to myself because, this is bhakti is a work in progress. We know that there are different stages of understanding, getting to that place of prema where we understand more of Krishna's inconceivable nature when we have pure love of God. So in the process of going through these different stages of bhakti, having doubt is actually a wonderful part of the process. At the same time, that doubt is to help us to become more faithful and less envious of the Lord. Okay. Anyone else have anything that they would like to add to this?
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. I have
Yes, Hare
okay,
Krishna,
go
sir.
ahead. Govinda Prabhu. Yes.
Yeah, so Mother, I would like you to relate this to what Krishna says in Krishna book about the importance of one taking care of his mother and father, otherwise the parents, that they should by all means must be taken care of. And also when Krishna killed the demon who turned as a cow to be killed, and Krishna was attacked by SRIMAD Radharani, that how can you do that? One should not kill a woman. A woman must never be killed. And so Krishna was attacked so badly by SRIMAD Radharani. And here Putana has come as a mother, and she was killed by Krishna. How do you put this together for us, the conditioned souls, to understand that our mothers are very, very important, and it is our duty to liberate them, not to abuse them. It's our duty to serve them and not to neglect them. The mother may be inimical towards the children sometimes, but at all costs, you must overlook their bad and look at the good. Look at how they have conceived us in the womb for 9 months and taken care of us here and there. And so we, under no circumstance that the mother should be abused or to be neglected. I would like you to relate that to this Krishna pastime for we the conditioned souls to understand the importance of our mothers, that you should by all means take care of them.
Wow, Govinda, you brought it all the way back around. That's so beautiful. I love this. That's why I always like to call on these devotees that are scholars. Govinda is a scholar, but he is a heart scholar. He totally gets Krishna in the heart, totally understands. Paramatma definitely worked through him. So that's a beautiful point. Krishna shows the protection of mother by this pastime, actually. because Putana came as a mother, and so therefore it was Krishna's duty, in one sense, to benedict her, to give her, and she got the highest benediction. She got that liberation. So in that sense, we can understand from this pastime that Krishna showed us how he actually did protect her. He didn't protect her body, and Krishna explains that. He doesn't have to protect our bodies, but he protects who we are. He protects the spirit soul. And also in this pastime, Vishwanath Chakravarti mentions this beautiful point, which I shared earlier, where he says that Krishna closed his eyes because the reason he closed his eyes when he killed Putana is to avoid the shame of killing a woman posing as a mother and to avoid seeing the inauspiciousness of Putana's death. So Krishna didn't want to have that, shame of, wow, I'm killing my mother, right? At the same time, he had to do that because she came to kill him. She came to, as you said, her intention was to kill him. However, again, that larger principle, or that overriding principle, that she came to kill him. However, she was in the mood of a mother, and here he had to kill his mother, which is definitely inauspicious, not something that Krishna would do. However, to show us this, to teach us by example, that even when you come to me with ill intentions, yes, I will have to give some punishment, as you said, as we can understand, in terms of, just modern day language. I give some punishment, which means that I did kill her. At the same time, I rewarded her. I benedicted her. And so just as you said, with a mother, sometimes they may do certain things that a child don't understand. Why are you doing this? Why are you taking privileges away? Or why are you speaking to me in harsh words? Or why are you, whatever a parent may do, that parent might be for the benefit of that child, and the child may not be aware of that. So Putana, as a mother, in that mood as a mother, got benedicted by the Supreme Lord. She got the highest award, but at the same time, he killed her. He killed her body, not who she really, not, and gave her soul a benediction, gave who she was, which again is our philosophy. We're all parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, right? And so therefore, she got, what's really interesting about this pastime is she got this highest benediction. She got to go to Goloka Vrindavan. And Vishwanath Chakravarti, he explains there that Putana attained the same planet as Mother Yashoda. Putana attained Goloka, but her position was predominated by happiness and reverence. She did not attain the place predominated by service and prema. So that's an interesting, I couldn't even get into that because, that's Vishwanath Chakravarti. And I read that and I thought, okay, there's different places in the spiritual world where you can go and get certain kinds of benefits. So, all right, I'll just file that in my consciousness, and Krishna will reveal to me more and more how to understand this. So yeah, thank you so much, Govinda Prabhu. And I see Varaha has something he wants to share. So thank you, Govinda. Varaha Prabhu.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mother. Thank you.
Well, let me see. So I think I've had explanation to this, and using the Upanishad Om Puna.
Varaha. Om Purna.
Hare Krishna. He's still here though.
Anything that comes into contact with Krishna becomes perfect. So if Krishna really wants to punish and kill a demon, he won't do it himself. And we've seen those stories in Krishna book when Krishna wanted to kill that demon and he went into the cave. Krishna didn't want to kill him himself. because that will make him to get liberation. So he made him to wake up Mushukunda. So anything that comes in contact with Krishna, because Krishna is Ompunam, that becomes perfect. But if Krishna really wants to punish, then he will not do it himself. But if anything gets in contact with Krishna, that thing becomes perfect, because Krishna by nature is perfect. So Krishna's slap or Krishna's embrace is perfect. That's what we learn from the Ompunam verse. Krishna's slap or Krishna's embrace is perfect. There's no difference between Krishna slapping somebody or Krishna embracing somebody, because it's all perfect. So if Krishna really wants to deal with somebody in terms of punishment, then he has so many agents to do that. That's why it is referred to as Lila. Now, these personalities that came into this relationship with Krishna as enemies, it's all Lila. It's all pastime. It's not like, the demon the way we used to understand it. So that's the explanation I've had about this in the past. So I just remember this Om Punam verse, that everything that comes into contact with Krishna becomes perfect. And whether Krishna slaps you or embraces you, it's all beautiful. So anyway, that's just a little contribution. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Varaha Prabhu.
Krishna,
that's like.
Okay, go ahead, mother, please.
No, I was just thinking when Varaha was speaking about that verse, but also like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu praying, right? Whether you handle me roughly by your embrace or make me brokenhearted, you're my Lord, birth after birth after birth after birth. And sometimes it is a little brokenhearting to hear that somebody can be such a big demon and still, we're like, what? Oh, we're trying to, so hard to not do sinful things and so hard to follow, Krishna is the complete whole. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. There's another verse that I remembered actually. I was doing a class last night and I was sharing this verse, and this verse says, Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udara dihi tivrena bhakti yogena yajeta purusham param. A person who has broader intelligence, whether he or she be full of all material desires, without any material desires, or desiring liberation, must by all means worship the supreme whole, the personality of God. So our great fortune is we have this opportunity by the mercy of the spiritual master, our beloved spiritual masters, to worship, to learn about the supreme personality of Godhead, and then most importantly, to chant the holy names of the Lord by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Bhakta Hassan Prabhu.
Well, Hare Krishna, excuse me, Mother, before we go back to Bhakta Hassan, excuse me, what Srila Varaha Prabhu just shared about the Purnam aspect of Krishna, that whatever comes in contact with Krishna becomes purified. So I have this question, of course, for our speaker, but also for Srila Varaha Prabhu. I won't mention names, but I used to have one senior devotee who helped me so much in my early days in devotional service. And there was this slogan that we used to chant. It didn't sound right to me, and it still doesn't sound right to me. So I tried not to do it, and I still try not to do it. And that is Boga plus Prashadam equal to Prashadam.
Okay. Sounds like
that means that once you have Prashadam, you can buy the burger and then mix it with the Prashadam and enjoy eating the burger. So is that allowed? Since Krishna is Purnam, whatever comes in contact with Krishna gets purified. So one can buy boga and then mix it with prashadam and consume it. Is that okay?
I don't know. I have not seen that in Sastra, but I will tell you there are social etiquette that I've personally been a part of in our ISKCON growing as devotees, which gets back and forth, change all the time. However, yeah, when I was newer in my devotional life, that was accepted, that you can have prashadam, and if you have something that I'm trying to visualize something practical of that. But anyway, if you have prashad, let's say you have rice that's prashadam, but you're running out of rice and you need to have more rice, but you still have some prashadam rice, then you just mix the new rice with that prashadam rice and it's prashadam. Actually, that was done. Now that might have been just a social part of our evolving in Krishna consciousness. I don't never seen that in Sastra, but I don't know much about Sastra anyway, so who am I? I only followed instruction. Varaha, let's hear from you, and Ishwara and all the devotees. Have you ever done that? Is Varaha here?
Yeah, he said, but maybe he's busy with something. So,
okay. Can I just say something?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So the example we use is that of Vajraya stone, which can turn everything to gold. But then what the Vajraya stone has turned to gold cannot in itself turn something else back to gold. The power is in the Vajraya stone, Krishna. So the example used about prasad may be acceptable, like Mataji says, is like a social pact. But it's not a logical example for coming in contact with Krishna and becoming purified. Because now it's gone a second hand. Anything that comes in contact with the Vajraya stone becomes gold. But not that what has become gold can make something else become gold. I hope that is understood. So it has to be in contact with the original Vajraya stone to become gold. Not that what Vajraya stone has turned to gold can turn other things into gold. No, that's not how it works. Krishna is the transforming agent here. It's not the thing that has been transformed that will transform other things. Krishna himself is the transforming agent. So that's how I see it. Hare Krishna.
That's a beautiful explanation, because in this pastime, it's the same thing. Krishna is this transforming agent. We can't forget that, right? Krishna is the one that can send Putana to Goloka Vrindavan or send her to, I don't know, some other place, whatever. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. Bhakta Hassan.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for the wonderful answer. And His Grace Varaha Prabhu, thank you so much for your wonderful answers too. But I want to ask this question concerning man and woman. Krishna, when he was going to Mathura, he went to SRIMAD and somebody asked a question, if it's right. And he said that everybody comes to me, but I go to her. And that shows how important Srimati Radharani is attracted to Krishna.
But sir, you're breaking up. We could not hear part of what you were saying.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay. So I was saying that when Krishna was going to Mathura, he went to Srimati Radharani and somebody asked him, why did you go to her? And he said that, if I'm quoting it right, I was watching the Mahabharata, and he said that everybody comes to me, but I go to her. That shows the importance of Srimati Radharani, who is a woman to Krishna. And in the Bible, Jesus Christ, there was this woman who was bleeding for many years. And he touched the clothes of Jesus Christ, and some energy got out of him. He turned back and he said, "Who touched me?" And it was a woman, and he just go away. I'm just wondering for. And someone came to Muhammad and asked him, "Your mother and father, who do you have to serve?" He said, "Your mother." "And who next?" He said 3 times, your mother 3 times, and said the 4th one, "Your father." That shows the importance of a woman. And according to Quran, when Moses was to go to Pharaoh, before he can defeat Pharaoh, it is said that God has to send a devil to convince Pharaoh, because Pharaoh was serving his mother. He was a king, but it for mother can defeat, Moses can defeat Pharaoh. God had to somebody to convince Pharaoh to stop doing all that before he can defeat him. My comes is that says if they are king, he used to have a king to have become a king. Even if she has they cannot become a king.
He was breaking up a lot, and eventually we lost him. And if he's unable to come back, I'm afraid we might have to end the class.
I got a gist of his class and of what his question was, and I just want to respond very briefly.
Okay.
It's very important, Dr. Hassan, to understand women, as you're sharing, women that are in the category of those that are conditioned by the modes of ignorance, passion, maybe even goodness, and the difference with them and Srimati Radharani. Radharani is not just a woman. She's not an ordinary woman as we understand woman. Radharani is an expansion of the Supreme Lord himself. Radharani is none different in many ways than the Supreme Lord. And therefore, the qualities that are attributed to Srimati Radharani is way different than the qualities of those persons that are in conditioned nature as women. Not to say that there are not women that are pure in consciousness. Queen Kunti is a perfect example. At the same time, there is a differentiation in understanding transcendental women and women that may still be conditioned by the modes of material nature. I just wanted to share that briefly. Okay.
Well, thank you so much, Mother VRAJALILA, and all the assembled Vaishnava devotees, more especially the wonderful questions and the contributions. And with that being said, we're going to humbly request all the devotees to kindly unmute. Hare Krishna.
Is it possible I can say something small before?
Hare Krishna. I lost internet connection because my internet is very bad today.
Yeah.
So what I was trying to ask is that what is Vedas or Krishna consciousness explain about this? Just for curiosity, because if we look at all the religion, woman is very, 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 very important. but they can never become a king. So I'm just wondering, why is it so? This is the question I wanted to ask, Mother Hare Krishna.
Well, your question was partly heard, and Mother tried to answer. But Mother, I don't know if you want to further share something.
Taha, you're an excellent facilitator. That last point caught me. The woman can't become a king. I didn't hear that part before. So,
yes, the last part was that. So the last part
she
was,
said she heard you. It says that is.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes,
Thank you,
yes,
Mother.
yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
yes. So again, three points here. Understanding Srimati Radharani's position, she is not to be compared to women who are conditioned by the modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance. That's conditional. They're women that that when we talk about women, we want to understand, are we talking about women that are pure in consciousness or women that are conditioned? We have examples in our scriptures of pure women that are pure in consciousness, and we also have those that are conditioned. Third point you made about women somebody in a woman's body may not be able to become a king. Actually, there are pastimes in the Mahabharata where women took on bodies of males. And, as far as a woman becoming a king, women have become queens. So if you're talking about rulership, women can rule. We even in modern day times, we have Cleopatra ruling with the pharaohs. So that she was in a female body. So there are rulers, whether it's a king or whatever. Now, if it's your body thing, if a woman can't become a man to become a king, well, maybe in another life they can. So it's a lot of nuances, a lot of different perspectives about that question, Prabhu. And I think the what's important though in your question is to really understand, not for you, I'm not saying this in a demeaning way, but just that we all need to understand that whether we're in a woman's body or in a male's body, that we are actually pure servants of the Lord. And how can we remember that? And how can we once again come back to that real position of being a true servant of Krishna, a lover of Krishna, and not thinking that we're these bodies. In these bodies, we have different roles, for sure. Definitely different roles. And that's, if we don't understand that, then we got to go back to Bhakti 101. Haribo.
Well, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mother. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Chakra, we want to hear from Hare Chakra.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mother. Thank you for your elaborate explanation of all this celebration. Yeah. What I was doing is like mine is like a question, and at the same time it's like what we call a contribution. It was about the Putana issue, how a demon as Putana was liberated. Well, in my mind, I was thinking that whatever promise Krishna gives always stands. And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that whatever state of consciousness at the time of death, whatever your state of consciousness at the time of death, you attain it without fail. So, how can we be sure that at the time of Putana dying, he was not fully thinking of Krishna? And if she was fully thinking of Krishna at the time of death, Krishna's assurance is that whatever state of your being, of your consciousness at the time of death, you achieve it without fail. So for Krishna to fulfill his what do we call it, this promise, then even though the act, Putana's act, Might be a wrong act, might be something. But if at the time of dying she was focused on Krishna, then definitely she will have to go to Krishna. This is my little way of understanding it. From I don't know if it's wrong or not, but that is my little way of understanding. Hare Krishna.
Hari Hari. There are no wrong answers. Prabhu, thank you so much. That's just, it sounds so simple, but at the same time so profound. That's a fact. We don't know. I mean, Putana, of course she was thinking of Krishna. She was getting her breath, all her breath sucked out of her. So she was crying, thinking of Krishna. You're taking my breath away. What's going on? You know, you're just a little boy. Why are you doing this? So she was thinking of Krishna. And so that verse, yes, is such an important verse. However we're thinking, whatever we're thinking about Krishna. And we don't know, like at the time, as you're saying, Prabhu, Hari Chakra Prabhu, if her thoughts of Krishna became more favorable, or she's getting this life sucked out of her breath. You know, when people are dying, they can be really sinful. And then when they start dying, Sahadev knows all about that, they start calling on God. Where are you? Dear Lord. So yes, she could have become very favorable to Krishna at that moment, at that time of death. So this is so rich. Everyone here, you know, you all have such amazing understanding of the scriptures. And this goes to show you how beautiful the scriptures are. We can go at it from different angles. It's not just one person's perspective. Ultimately, it's Srila Prabhupada's perspective, and quoting the scriptures and validating from the scriptures whatever it is that we say. Thank you all very much. I feel like I learned so much today.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, I would like to share this, that I do not think we need scriptures to understand that a woman can never become a king. It's, excuse me to say, it's just common sense that how does a woman become a king? If a cow cannot become a bull, and a bull cannot become a cow, it's simple. But that does not mean that a woman cannot rule like a king rules. When we say king, it is masculine, and a woman is feminine. So we have kings that rule, we have queens that also rule. So when, like Mother was saying, when it comes to rulership, it is not a matter of male or female, but the mere fact that a woman cannot become a king does not mean that a woman cannot rule. That is just what I wanted to share. Hare Krishna. And
also, Saha, just for everybody, just because this is my home place where I come and I can be myself totally.
Yes.
So to all of us are feminine. There are no masculines. The only masculine is Krishna. Everybody is feminine. And so therefore, when we talk about kings or queens or whatever situations that may be that we label in the material world, we're talking about material conditioning. And so really what's important for all of us as we're trying to evolve in Krishna consciousness is to remember that we're simply servants. Everyone is a servant. Everyone is a servant of the absolute masculine, which is Krishna. I would just want to close it with Ishvara Prabhu, closing us out with this. Ishvara.
Yeah.
Did you have to go, my dear Ishvara Prabhu?
Yeah, he's still here. Maybe he can give us a concluding word.
Yeah.
Ishvara Prabhu.
Sometimes we have on our Zoom, but we have to be in some other place. So yeah, he may not be here with us. But anyway, yeah, we thank you. And we thank JPD for saying in the chat that Radharani is the nomination. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right.
All right. So we're going to humbly request all the devotees to kindly unmute, and we all chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our appreciation to our dearest revered speaker, Her Grace VRAJALILA Devi. Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama
Rama,
Hare Panchakalpatarvyacha Patitanam
Pavanebhyo, Krishna Bhyo Namo.
Evil devotees.
All glories to Her
Thank you very
Grace
much.
VRAJALILA Devi.